we're going to talk for a minute about what I'll call a worldview triangle. And others have described this. We're finding it helpful. I personally found it very helpful in recognizing limitations in seeing God, in seeing the world in only one way. So the triangle, as we see that a lot in our work, we have three different categories that we work with. And for this, I'll give you the headings and then we'll explore them a bit. And so people have talked about a worldview triangle that includes at one corner guilt, another corner shame, and another corner power. And so let me say a word about guilt. So this is an orientation of saying we want to avoid guilt. So we want to be innocent. We want to show that we are in the right. And it primarily has to do with objective standards. And so it has to do with the most common idea is with law, whether or not that law is the written law, and I go to court to prove that I'm innocent, a moral law, but it's about showing that the standard is one that I'm in the right. And it tends to be more individual, that what matters is I want to show that I'm right according to the standard. Even if people don't like that, even if people don't see that, I want to be able to say I'm in a place where I am right. Now, shame is quite different. Shame is more about relationship, so it's much more relational. And it has to do with how the group views me. And so it's my standing in a group. And so whereas the objective standards of guilt says either I'm innocent or guilty, here the question is, am I held in honor or in shame? How is the group viewing me, and how do I affect the group? So am I bringing honor or bringing shame? And so in this sense, even if I can say I'm innocent, but if somehow I am shamed by the group, that's a great loss to me. And so there's a really significant aspect of connection with others and in the group, not just this objective standard. And power has to do with power and authority, and a key thing is vulnerability. So a key thing that I want to avoid in a power view of the world is I don't want to be vulnerable to something that I can't control. And sometimes this is spiritual, and so it's sometimes seeing that there are spiritual forces that are beyond me. But it could be external forces like the government or just nature. So there are many different ways, but there are powers that are beyond me. And so we'll start here. A key thing that I need in a power culture is I need protection. I need someone who has the ability to keep me safe from these other things. So in a spiritual sense, this could be a witch doctor. I need a witch doctor who is able to deal with these authorities, these powers that I can't see, I can't control, and I need protection from that. What I need in the guilt situation is I need forgiveness. So when I've done what's wrong, I need somebody to bring about that justification out of that situation. And in a shame setting, what I will need is restoration. That what I need is I've got a relationship with this whole that is broken, and I need help with that. And so in protection, when we think of worship, a classic hymn that relates to this is A Mighty Fortress. That there are powers that are evil, that are against me, that that Satan is there and he has power beyond my own. I need a fortress. I need protection to help me. In forgiveness, this will also relate to justification. And so we will sing a song like, I'm forgiven because you were forsaken, right? So we will sing of this grace. We'll sing of this idea that I have, that my sin has been washed away. My guilt has been taken care of. And a line that's very significant for restoration is this expression that I was once your enemy, and now seated at your table. Seated at your table. And so this is expressing reconciliation. And when I look at this triangle, I realize that having myself grown up in the West, there is a strong orientation about dealing with guilt and this objective standard. And so in the West, this is a pattern. And so theology that's been developed in the West tends to be more oriented around this individual need for forgiveness. Theology that is developed more in the East tends to be more oriented toward the relational shame orientation. And in the more tribal settings, there tends to be more of an orientation toward the power. And so I've realized that for myself, my view of God was too small, because my view of God tended to be just pretty much in this part of the triangle. And I've come to see that I need to broaden my understanding of God and his work of salvation, because it does in fact include both or all three of these ideas: the protection from powers beyond my control, a restoration, a reconciliation with other people, and most importantly with God, and dealing with my guilt. And so all three are at play. So being exposed to other worldviews has helped me to realize the glory of God is greater than what I knew before.